What were you doing 13 years ago? Maybe you're a teenager like me, maybe you're a little kid, or maybe you don't even remember that long ago. I know I barely remember anything from that long ago, so I feel like I can't really be held responsible for any mistakes I made back then. But what if 13 years after you made a snap decision under pressure, you had to go and double down on fixing this mess you've made? That is what happened with the inclusion of Dr. Mario in Smash Bros. Dr. Mario has always been an extremely weird addition to the Smash Bros. Franchise. Dr. Mario was a puzzle game released in 1990 for the NES and the Game Boy, with gameplay somewhat resembling Tetris, with falling coloured pills having to be matched. Why they made a puzzle game about falling pills, about Mario, of all people, I don't really know. Realistically, this had nothing to do with Mario's lore up to this point, so I would assume it was just to increase sales using brand recognition. My point is, at no point were you playing as Dr. Mario. You know, in the Mario sense where you run around and jump on Goombas. Now there's been a few releases in the Dr. Mario games since, but the gameplay's always been pretty much unchanged. No running, no jumping, no fighting. So naturally, he was added to a game where you run, jump, and fight. Super Smash Bros. Melee, released in 2001. You might have heard of it. Why? Well, Melee was famously made in an incredibly short amount of time, only 13 months. Compare this with the 7 years between Melee and its successor, Brawl, and you'll see that the 13 months is not long at all. But the developers still wanted to add new characters. The answer? Clones. Copy-pasted fighters with a few changes to their stats and their moves, while keeping pretty much all the same animations. If there was more time and budget, would Dr. Mario ever have been added? I would say probably not. This guy was not at the top of anyone's most wanted fighters list. In fact, he didn't even return in Brawl where they had 7 years to put him in, so it goes to show. Now he returned in Smash 4, which was a bit strange, and again, he was not super popular, and now he was just bad. So surely, he's not going to be coming back in Smash Ultimate, right? So now, Sakurai and the rest of the development team have to clean up this mess they made so many years ago and put Dr. Mario back in Smash Ultimate, and try to make him worthy of being a real character, as he isn't even an Echo Fighter in this one. I decided to play him and try and find out where he sits. And at first, I thought they really had failed. Dr. Mario is just so awkward. He's weird, in both his place in the game and his gameplay. And if he is this much worse than Mario, then what the hell is he doing here? He sucks, he's hard, and he's pretty much nobody's favourite character. So if that's the case, then why have I been playing him non-stop for the past week, and I've made him my highest ranked character? Bad characters in Smash tend to have a couple redeeming qualities at least. Ganondorf's got great range, and his legs hit like a truck. Incineroar can kill you at 30 with a revenge side B. Little Mac has some of the best Smash attacks in the game. So, Dr. Mario, what does he have? Well, he has no range, he has no speed, he's not heavy, and he has a terrible recovery. So why do I like him? I'll tell you why. It's because every time I win with Dr. Mario, I feel like I earned it. Dr. Mario is so bad that he makes me a better player. He doesn't cheat the game. You don't get a free pass in basically anything. Well, let me give you a comparison. If you play, say, King K. Rool, you can kind of just flail around off stage as long as you want, and then just press up B and fly back to the stage with a big helicopter on top of your head. Sure, a good player will catch you out, but for the most part, it's very forgiving. If you swing madly off stage with Doc though, you die in a very, very sad manner. If you play Yoshi and you want to dash attack someone and they roll away, it still hits them. With Doc, you're so slow and with such little range that if you want to catch a rollaway, you need to deliberately overshoot them, or you're just never going to catch up. If you like Sephiroth and you don't know what to do, you just swing the giant sword and you might just win neutral for no reason. Even Ganondorf manages to cheat a little bit with all his moves eventually killing, so there's no need to learn kill setups as your weak moves will eventually do the job. I mean, Doc is pretty strong, but the normal moves aren't killing until like 150. In every single interaction with Doc, it feels like you need to do the work. You need to earn every single hit, but if you put in this work, the reward can be huge. Today I'm going to talk about 4 things that playing this weird bottom tier character taught me, and how it made me a better Smash player. Dr. Mario may just have the worst recovery in the entire game. Yep, worse than Little Mac. Yeah, worse than Ganondorf. It is that bad. If you're gonna make it back, you need to use every single one of your resources, and even then, you might still be out of luck. If you as much as get hit by a strong gust of wind when you're coming back, you can kiss that stock goodbye. So you not only have very few options you can take, if you pick the wrong one, you instantly die. So what can you do? How does this make you a better player? Well, you gotta get creative. I'm sure I've showed enough of me dying off stage in these clips to show you what I would consider a good recovery. Here, I hold in and down B to start going high, and then double jump to show that I am going high completely, but then I fast fall and then go low with the up B. Pretty smart. Here, I down B and drift backwards while they come out for me to stall time, and then I just make it back with the double jump and the up B. But there are more options for getting back than just holding in and either going high or low, and I was forced to find them with Doc. Another benefit of mixing it up is people don't really know what to expect from you offensively. And also, nobody ever techs this one. Now, mixing up recovery is not a Dr. Mario exclusive thing. I mean, it goes for every single different character. Mixing up your recovery is so important, but cheated characters just zoom back to the stage for you. Or if you do get hit, you're just gonna come back anyway, so you never have to really learn the skill. Do you always make it back with Dr. Mario? Of course not. But you can make it back a lot more than you might expect. Check this out. Look, I'm still alive. Oh, 175. I'm chilling. Look, I'm still going. How are we gonna make it back from here? Teched again. It's beautiful. I did lose this game though. Dr. Mario has garbage range. Like, I'm all for the short kings out there, but my god, I wish his legs were just a little bit longer. Range is good for so many things, but having too much of it can become a huge crutch for having bad spacing. Spacing is a really general term, which basically covers everything to do with how far you are away from your opponent, and it's a surprisingly complicated topic. Take this matchup for example. Doc has less range than Marth because he has a sword. Insightful stuff, I know. That's why you're subscribed, right? Anyway, there's a point. So while I'm playing, I'm thinking about how far away from him I ever should be. In this matchup, there are 3 zones. There's far away, let's call it disengaged, where neither of us are close enough to each other to hit each other with any of our moves. Here, I have a small advantage because I have a projectile and Marth doesn't, so I can stay there and that's okay. Until Marth starts coming closer to me and tries to put me into the next zone, my opponent's preferred range. Let's call it the sword zone. In the sword zone, they can hit me and I can't hit them. This is where Marth wins every single time. For them at this range, at the worst our moves will clink, but they'll usually hit me. Being here is absolutely disastrous for me as Doc, but unfortunately I do need to get through this danger zone to get to the final one, the one where I finally get to have some fun. If I get through, I now have the upper hand, and I call it like the pain zone. Up close, my moves are faster, stronger, and combo better than Marth's. Sure, they might be able to hit me here, so it's not quite as one-sided as the sword zone, but boy is the reward good if I can capitalize on it. So, logic dictates that I want to be in the pain zone as much as possible, right? Well, here's the part that playing Doc helped to teach me. Because he's so bad, you can't just force your way in. He's slow, so you spend way more time in your opponent's effective range than you would probably like. You can't just run in. You need to work your way in. To understand how this may be a better player, I need to go back in time to when I was playing Rivals of Aether a bit. I was playing a lot. I wanted to find more matches, so I joined a Discord with players from Australia and asked for games. The guys in this Discord were really nice and welcoming, but my god, did they mess me up. Repeatedly and mercilessly. I felt like I couldn't even play the game for most of the match, and when I finally got to go and approach, I just got swatted away like a fly. Being really nice, my opponents would often give me tips and they said I should use more dash dancing. Now, dash dancing is where you just move left and right repeatedly without actually, going anywhere. And this pissed me off because what the hell is zip zooping back and forth on the spot actually going to achieve? How could this possibly be helpful? It was only much later that I understood this point. Not only is mixing up your approach option important, but also mixing up your approach timing. If you're dash dancing, you could come in at any time, so any attempt to keep you out would just be a complete miss, which you can then go in and punish. This is what I mean by working your way in. You don't just run in, you need to think, you need to see what they do, you need to go and attack at the right time. Another way of getting in is, faking out an approach where you run halfway in and maybe you shield and see what they do. People will panic when they see you closing that gap and hopefully do something rather unwise. I could go into the nuance of trying to win neutral with spacing for ages because there's effectively an unlimited number of ways you can do it, and it's up to your imagination. Any player can memorize the same combo with enough practice and pull it off, for sure. And yeah, it feels good. But if you want a true expression of player creativity, look at how they win neutral, especially with a character that doesn't really have any broken cheater moves. Look, I'm just going to go on a bit of a tangent. It kind of goes against my whole message, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that the pill here was a huge help. When people play defensive and let you do all the approaching, it's great to just shoot 3 or 4 pills and remind them that you could camp them out if you really needed to. But in the spirit of the character, you still need to use it effectively or it's not actually very good. If you're following it up, you can combo it into loads of your moves, which can lead to a lot of damage or even kills. But you need a lot of momentum behind you if you're going to follow it up. If you have enough space to get a huge run up, jump, pill, and then follow it up, your opponent's going to see it coming. But that is where we use B reverses. A B reverse is a tech that flips your momentum while using a special, and it's pretty easy with a bit of muscle memory, and it basically means that I can pretend I'm running away, spin around while shooting a pill, and then follow it up. B reverse pills are amazing with Doc, and I just use them constantly. I'd say this is probably the closest thing he has to a cheater move, but it sure made playing neutral so much more enjoyable than it can be with characters without any projectiles. Anyway, next bad thing. Edgeguarding is not easy with Dr. Mario, because if you go out too deep, you just won't come back. And if you get hit at any point during your edgeguard, you're also probably not coming back. This made me play a lot safer, and I don't mean safer in a boring, stand back and ledge trap every time. What I mean is that I had to have an exit plan. Maybe instead of falling with the aerial, you would rise with it to come back. Maybe you fake the drop off and actually catch the get up option. Or if you really want to go flying off with your down air, you need to be pretty sure it's gonna hit, because you probably aren't coming back. Now, this isn't to say I didn't die going off for some pretty overzealous edge guards occasionally, I am me after all. But losing an entire stock every time you fail is a pretty brutal punishment, so I had to learn. The down air is one of his only completely unique moves that Doc gets, and I kinda love it. He just looks hilarious when he uses it. By the way, there's no point to me talking about this, it doesn't really fit my narrative, I just wanted to show more down air clips. Look, this one's cool. Off the weak back air. Yeah, hype. Hey, here's a good one. He was trying to disrespect me after they won like 10 matches in a row against me. Nope. Oh, it's also really easy to hit on DK, and in that regard, it's probably better than Mario's forward air. Ooh, and the double. And you can hit it on Chrom pretty reliably. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, anyway, back to things I've learned. Dr. Mario's aerials are weird. To differentiate them from regular Mario, they made them send people in strange directions, and this theme has kinda stuck. The weirdest one, by far, is the neutral air. Every nair that looks like this, and there's a lot of them, has a strong hit at the start, and then a lingering hit that is a lot weaker. It makes sense. As you kick, it's stronger. I mean, yeah, logic, I guess. But Dr. Mario's is of course the opposite. Incredibly weak at the start, and then really strong at the end. It looks stupid. Your ass touches someone and they just go careering off the screen. But it is kinda crazy for ledge trapping, so that's good. The up air sends people left or right instead of up, which is cool for combos, but terrible for your muscle memory and habits, which is overall a good thing because it breaks down your autopilot. And finally, the forward air. This move is very, very strong, but also very, very slow. If you accidentally ever do it, you're probably screwed. But if you can make it hit, it will delete people. So many characters just have aerials where you can just point the control stick at the enemy and then press A, and there's a good chance your aerial is going to be pretty good for the situation. But not these ones. You need to learn when you can use each one properly. There's risk and reward, and I love that. If you catch people sleeping, down throw forward air just ends them. But it's a risk to go for because you have true combos into up airs, which is guaranteed damage. So I have to weigh up in my head, do I want the damage and the stage control, or do I want the chance of taking a stock? Look, maybe I'm overthinking a simple interaction, but it felt really good every time I hit this fair. There's always the classic double jump bait, where you make it look like you're gonna land in front of someone to bait them to throw something out, and at the last second, you go psych, jump up, and land with the giant aerial. The dopamine hit when they try to grab is truly unrivaled. Dr. Mario actually does have one really powerful redeeming quality, and that's his out of shield game. If you didn't know, there are some moves that you can do without having to drop your shield, and they just come out instantly, and up B and up smash are two of them. Do not, I repeat, do not hit Dr. Mario's shield if you're like 100% or more, or you will get punched, and it will be sudden, and you probably will die. I play a lot of Ganondorf, and he has absolutely nothing in terms of fast out of shield options, so having these moves is absolutely glorious. Oh my god, Ganon with this out of shield would be so fun. Again, this video is focusing on what makes Doc bad, but I couldn't mention his best feature, and these are unironically just some of the best out of shield moves in the entire game. Anyway, back to my point. Using bad characters is a great way to improve your fundamentals. So many people who I see in Elite Smash just have insanely ingrained bad habits, which are usually based on their character. This not only means that you're going to get completely demolished by someone who's good at reading this and punishing these, but it also means that you're never going to be very good at any other characters that are outside of your playstyle or even just your one character. This limits how much fun you can have in the game because you can only truly enjoy a tiny slice of what Smash has to offer. It took getting this awkward, uncomfortable addition to Smash, Dr. Mario, to eventually becoming my highest ranked character to teach me this. Thank you, Dr. Mario. But, for the record, I still think you should probably get cut from the next Smash game.